The Bible, one of the most influential and widely read books in human history, is often regarded as a unique and divinely inspired text. However, a deeper exploration into its origins reveals intriguing connections to the ancient Sumerian mythologies, some of the oldest known religious texts in the world. These ancient narratives, etched in cuneiform on clay tablets thousands of years ago in Mesopotamia, present a fascinating tapestry of gods, creation stories, and epic sagas. Many scholars have noted striking parallels between these ancient Sumerian myths and various stories in the Bible, suggesting a shared cultural and mythological heritage that spans millennia. This exploration into the mysteries of the Bible through the lens of ancient Sumerian texts opens up a world where myth, history, and theology intertwine, offering a new perspective on the roots of biblical tales. Join us on an extraordinary journey as we unravel the unbelievable connections between the Bible and some of the oldest civilizations on Earth. Brace yourself for many revelations as we delve into the captivating odyssey of the Bible's secret origins, a tale that unfolds through the myths, echoes, and interwoven narratives of the ancient world. Stories are the lifeblood of human civilizations, weaving the fabric of cultures and shaping the narratives that define societies. In the rich tapestry of ancient Near Eastern literature, the Hebrew Bible stands as a testament to the diverse influences that converge to form its profound stories. Often referred to as the Torah or the Tanakh, the Bible is a mosaic of different works by various writers over an extensive period. Surprisingly, one of the major sources of inspiration for these writers was the ancient Sumerians, a civilization that thrived in Mesopotamia from 4000 to 2000 BCE. The Sumerians left behind a legacy of complex stories and myths that transcended the boundaries of their civilization. These narratives, embedded within the sacred pages of the Hebrew Bible, reveal a deep connection between the two cultures. The Sumerian creation myth, known as the Enuma Elish, shares striking similarities with the Genesis account of creation. Both stories grapple with the themes of order emerging from chaos and the separation of heaven and earth. In Genesis 1:2, the earth is described as empty and dark, with God's Spirit moving over the water, echoing the Sumerian narrative. The Sumerians, in their mythological repertoire, also presented a flood tale in the Epic of Gilgamesh, predating the biblical story of Noah's Ark. The parallels between these two narratives are remarkable, involving the construction of an ark, the preservation of animals, and the release of a dove to find land. This suggests a potential influence of the Sumerian myth on the biblical flood story. In addition to their mythological contributions, the Sumerians laid the groundwork for legal codes, notably the Sumerian Code of Uar-Nammu. This legal framework exerted a profound influence on subsequent legal codes in the ancient Near East, including those found in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy in the Hebrew Bible. The concept of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, resonates across both Sumerian and biblical legal traditions. Moving beyond the Sumerians, the city of Ugarit, situated in modern-day Syria, emerges as another influential node in the web of ancient storytelling. Active during the Late Bronze Age from 1400 to 1200 BCE, Ugarit's cuneiform texts provide crucial insights into the religious and cultural identity of the ancient Near East. The Baal cycle, a Ugaritic text narrating myths about the Canaanite god, resonates with themes found in the Psalms of the Hebrew cycle. These Ugaritic texts not only contribute to the understanding of Canaanite mythology, but also shed light on the intricate rituals associated with the worship of various deities. Researchers suggest that these rituals might have left an indelible mark on Israelite worship practices, influencing the structure and content of biblical psalms. As we continue our exploration of ancient influences on the Hebrew and Christian Bible, we also find many connections to ancient Egypt. The Bible, particularly in the story of the Exodus, shares striking similarities with Egyptian literature. The theme of a chosen savior engaged in a battle against a powerful ruler echoes through both traditions. Beyond narrative parallels, the Hebrew Bible incorporates Egyptian religious symbols and images. The prophet Ezekiel, for instance, employs symbols reminiscent of Egyptian religious iconography to convey his messages. The influence extends to the portrayal of pharaohs as strong leaders, aligning with the authoritative images associated with Egyptian rulers. Even artifacts like the Stone of Hezekiah bear traces of Egyptian influence, marked by an Egyptian ark. Moreover, the Psalms in the Hebrew Bible, songs of worship and praise, exhibit structural and thematic similarities to Egyptian hymns and prayers. The convergence of cultural and religious elements highlights the intricate interplay between these ancient civilizations. Amidst the pantheon of influences on the Hebrew Bible, the Canaanites emerged as a central force in shaping the religious landscape, inhabiting the region that encompasses present-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and parts of Jordan and Syria. The Canaanites worshipped a multitude of gods, each with distinct attributes and roles. The primary deity in the Canaanite religion, El, shared a name with the god in the Hebrew Bible. In ancient Semitic languages, El was a term used for a god or deity. In the context of Canaanite mythology, El was a significant god, often portrayed as an old man with a beard symbolizing wisdom, authority, and leadership. Baal, a prominent Canaanite deity associated with storms, fertility, and agriculture, wielded a lightning bolt, signifying control over nature. Asherah, the wife of El, assumed the role of the mother goddess, embodying fertility, motherhood, and nurturing. Her representation often included sacred trees or poles. Anat, a goddess of war, stood as a symbol of battle, violence, protection, and wisdom. Astarta, also known as Ashtoreth, served as the goddess of love, beauty, and sexuality, protecting fertility in human reproduction and agriculture. Dagon, a god with fish-like attributes, presided over agriculture, grain, and fertility. In the intricate tapestry of Canaanite beliefs, Yahweh, often associated with a specific region or tribe, stood apart from the broader Canaanite pantheon. The assimilation of Canaanite beliefs into the evolving Israelite religion was a complex and gradual process, with El eventually becoming integrated into the worship of Yahweh. The worship of Yahweh, as it evolved, retained elements of a divine council comprising lesser gods, a motif rooted in both Canaanite and early Israelite beliefs. The Hebrew Bible reflects this continuity, showcasing the enduring impact of Canaanite myths, religious practices, and cultural exchange on the emerging monotheistic identity of the Israelites. The Elephantine Jews emerged as a fascinating case study in religious syncretism. This Jewish community, dwelling in the ancient city of Elephantine on an island in the Nile River during the 5th century BCE, left behind a collection of documents known as the Elephantine Papyri. The Elephantine Papyri provides a unique window into the religious beliefs and practices of this Jewish enclave. Amidst the dominant worship of Yahweh, a syncretic blend of elements from both Egyptian and Canaanite traditions is evident. This syncretism is embodied in the coexistence of Yahweh worship alongside practices that reflect the local religious environment. The Elephantine Jews built and maintained a temple dedicated to Yahweh on the island, positioning Yahweh as their principal deity. However, alongside the worship of Yahweh, the Elephantine Jews also engaged in the veneration of other gods and goddesses, including Asherah. This religious diversity challenges simplistic notions of monotheism during certain periods in ancient Israel and underscores the complex nature of religious identity in multicultural contexts. The Elephantine Jews navigated the delicate balance between maintaining their unique religious identity centered around Yahweh and incorporating elements from the surrounding Egyptian and Canaanite religious traditions. This nuanced approach reveals the dynamic interplay of diverse cultural influences and the adaptability of religious beliefs in multicultural settings. As we reflect on the Elephantine Jews, their syncretic practices invite us to reconsider the notion of a monolithic and rigid religious identity in ancient Israel. Instead, the religious landscape appears characterized by fluidity, adaptation, and a willingness to incorporate elements from diverse cultural contexts. The compilation of the Torah, the foundational text encompassing the first 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, remains a subject of scholarly inquiry and debate. While the exact timeline of the Torah's compilation is challenging to pinpoint, scholars generally agree that it took shape over an extended period, likely reaching its final form after the Israelites' return from the Babylonian exile. The Babylonian exile, a pivotal period in Israelite history from 586 to 538 BCE, marked by the destruction of the First Temple in Jerusalem and the subsequent exile of a significant portion of the population, played a crucial role in shaping the development of Israelite literature and religious thought. During and after the Babylonian exile, the Israelites experienced profound cultural and religious transformations. The preservation and transmission of their religious heritage became a central concern, prompting the compilation and editing of various texts into a cohesive narrative. This process of textual redaction involved the gathering and organizing of diverse literary sources to create a unified and authoritative scripture. The documentary hypothesis, a widely accepted scholarly framework, posits that the Torah is composed of multiple source documents, each reflecting distinct literary traditions, styles, and theological emphases. The 4 main sources identified by the documentary hypothesis are the Yahwist, the Elohist, the Deuteronomist, and the priestly source. These sources, originating from different historical periods and reflecting diverse theological perspectives, were woven together by later editors to form the composite text of the Torah. The Yahwist source, often characterized by its use of the divine name Yahweh and its vivid narrative style, contributes significant portions of Genesis and parts of Exodus. The Elohist source, employing the term Elohim for God, is prominent in various sections of Genesis, Exodus, and Numbers. The Deuteronomist source, centered around the book of Deuteronomy, emphasizes themes of covenant and law, influencing sections of Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Samuel, and Kings. The priestly source, characterized by its focus on ritual, genealogies, and legal matters, is prevalent in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. The process of compilation and redaction aimed to create a coherent and authoritative narrative that conveyed the religious identity, history, and legal traditions of the Israelites. The resulting text became a foundational scripture for the Jewish community and later for Christians as well. In the biblical tradition, divine punishments are woven into the fabric of various narratives as a means of enforcing moral discipline and restoring cosmic order. Notable examples include the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden as a consequence of disobedience, the Great Flood as a response to widespread corruption and violence, and the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah due to their sinful practices. These narratives emphasize the notion of a just and righteous God who intervenes to maintain moral equilibrium, utilizing punishments as corrective measures aimed at guiding humanity back to the righteous path. The biblical depiction of divine punishments often aligns with the concept of covenant, a sacred agreement between God and the chosen people, such as the Israelites. The breaking of this covenant results in divine retribution, emphasizing the theological idea that obedience to divine commandments is integral to the preservation of a harmonious relationship between God and humanity. Similarly, in Sumerian mythology, gods assume the role of arbiters of cosmic balance, wielding their powers to mete out punishments when they perceive a disturbance in the divine order. In the Atrahasis epic, the gods decide to send a flood to punish humanity for their overpopulation and noise, reflecting a narrative parallel to the biblical flood story. The gods' decision to unleash destructive forces upon humanity serves as a reminder of their authority and the consequences of human actions that disrupt the cosmic equilibrium. Additionally, Sumerian myths depict instances of divine punishment as a response to challenges to the divine hierarchy. The myth of Enlil's punitive actions against humanity, seeking to reduce their numbers through various calamities, exemplifies the gods' role as enforcers of divine justice. As we unravel the complexities of the Torah's evolution, we gain insight into the dynamic interplay of historical events, cultural shifts, and theological reflections that contributed to the formation of this foundational text. The Torah, with its diverse sources and layered composition, stands as a testament to the intricate process of preserving, adapting, and interpreting the religious heritage of ancient Israel. In the vast expanse of human history, stories have served as the conduits of cultural transmission, carrying the collective wisdom, beliefs, and imaginations of civilizations through the ages. Journeying through the ancient worlds of Sumer, Egypt, Canaan, and beyond, it becomes evident that the stories, beliefs, and cultural influences embedded in these civilizations significantly shape the world of the Bible. The Bible emerges as a mosaic woven from the threads of ancient mythologies. From the grand adventures of Gilgamesh and the cosmic battles of Baal, to the hymns of the Egyptian gods and the complex pantheon of Canaanite deities, the Bible draws upon a rich tapestry of narratives, symbols, and religious concepts. The process of cultural exchange, adaptation, and reinterpretation is a recurring theme in the development of religious and literary traditions. As the Hebrew Bible took shape over centuries, its authors and editors engaged in a creative synthesis of existing stories, reshaping them into a new narrative that conveyed the religious, historical, and moral teachings of the Israelite community. The act of connecting the dots between ancient mythologies and the Bible invites us to explore the universal themes and truths embedded within these diverse narratives. While each civilization expressed its unique cultural identity, the shared motifs of creation, flood, divine encounters, and ethical principles reveal a common human quest for meaning, understanding, and connection with the divine. By unraveling the intricate web of influences that shape the Bible, we gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of human cultures and the enduring power of storytelling. The ancient myths, once disparate and dispersed across the ancient world, find a collective resonance within the pages of the Bible. It is a testament to the timeless nature of human storytelling, where the echoes of the past continue to reverberate through the narratives that define our shared heritage. In the biblical narrative, the book of Genesis unfolds the majestic act of creation orchestrated by the divine. The description of human creation resonates with poetic resonance as God fashions the first human, Adam, from the very substance of the earth. Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. This metaphorical act of molding humanity from the dust signifies a profound connection between the earthly and the divine, highlighting the notion that humans are intimately tied to the very fabric of the world. Similarly, in the myths of ancient Sumer, the creation of humans unfolds in a remarkably analogous fashion. The gods, in their creative prowess, shaped the first humans from the basic elements of the earth, clay or mud. This act is exemplified in the Atrahasis epic, where the goddess Nintu creates humans from the clay of the Abzu, the primordial freshwater ocean. This parallels the Sumerian god Enki's involvement in crafting humans from a mixture of clay and the blood of a god, imbuing them with life. The shared symbolism of using earthly elements, whether it be dust in the biblical narrative or clay and mud in Sumerian myths, reflects a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of humanity with the natural world. The choice of such materials emphasizes not only the humble origins of humans, but also their inherent link to the larger cosmos. Both narratives suggest that the act of creation involves a divine touch, breathing life into the earthly form and endowing it with a sacred essence. As we navigate this journey through time and culture, connecting the dots between ancient mythologies and the Bible, we are reminded of the richness of our collective human experience. The stories that have been passed down through generations, whether in the form of cuneiform tablets, papyri, or sacred scriptures, continue to shape our understanding of who we are, where we come from, and what it means to be part of a larger tapestry of humanity. In the labyrinthine corridors of ancient mythologies, the story of Esther and Mordecai in the Hebrew Bible finds an intriguing resonance with the ancient Mesopotamian myth of Ishtar and Tammuz. The parallels between these narratives, separated by time and cultural contexts, invite us to unravel the threads of a timeless tale that transcends cultural boundaries. The story of Ishtar and Tammuz unfolds in the mythological landscape of ancient Mesopotamia. Ishtar, the goddess of love, beauty, fertility, and war, descends into the underworld in a quest to rescue her lover, Tammuz. The descent of Ishtar into the realm of the dead marks a pivotal moment in the myth, leading to Tammuz's resurrection and the restoration of fertility to the earth. In the biblical narrative of Esther, we encounter a different setting and characters, yet the thematic resonance with the Ishtar-Tammuz myth is striking. Esther, a Jewish queen in the Persian Empire, risks her life to intercede on behalf of her people. The narrative climaxes with a dramatic turn of events, leading to the rescue of the Jewish community from the threat of annihilation. Esther's courage and intervention can be seen as a form of resurrection, a deliverance from impending doom. The parallels between these stories extend beyond the narrative structure to encompass themes of sacrifice, intervention, and the restoration of life. In both tales, a central female figure plays a pivotal role in navigating the precarious realms of life and death. Ishtar's descent into the underworld mirrors Esther's courageous approach to the Persian king, risking her life to save her people. As we unravel the connections between Esther and Ishtar, we are confronted with the enduring power of certain archetypal motifs in human storytelling. Within the pages of the Bible, the divine-human relationship is characterized by direct interactions between God and individuals or communities. This interaction often takes the form of guidance and instruction. Prophets receive divine messages, patriarchs are led by divine guidance, and communities are provided with ethical and moral instructions. For instance, the story of Moses receiving the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai epitomizes this direct divine involvement, shaping the moral framework for the Israelites. Throughout biblical narratives, God's communication with humanity serves as a source of guidance, offering a moral compass for righteous living. Similarly, in Sumerian mythology, gods actively engage with humans, assuming roles as instructors, protectors, and, occasionally, as enforcers of divine justice. Enki, the god of wisdom, is often portrayed as a benevolent deity who imparts knowledge and guidance to humanity. In the Atrahasis epic, Enki instructs Atrahasis on how to escape the wrath of the gods through the construction of an ark, a narrative echoing later flood stories. However, the divine-human relationship in Sumerian myths is not solely benevolent. The gods, like Enlil, also wield the power of punishment. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the gods decide to send a flood to punish humanity, showcasing a direct divine intervention that mirrors the biblical flood narrative. This punitive aspect of divine interaction underscores the belief in divine justice and retribution within the Sumerian cosmology. The shared theme of gods or God directly interacting with humanity underscores a belief in a moral order governed by divine principles. Whether providing guidance, imparting wisdom, or meting out punishment, the divine forces in both traditions actively participate in shaping the destinies of individuals and civilizations. This shared motif speaks to the human need for a transcendent authority, a force that not only imparts moral guidance but also enforces ethical conduct through direct intervention when deemed necessary. In the comparative study of afterlife views, two overarching perspectives emerge, each laden with its unique details and nuanced nature. While both share the fundamental premise of an existence beyond physical death, the divergences in their specifics add layers of richness to the understanding of these cultural and religious narratives. In examining these afterlife views, a common thread ties them together: the acknowledgement that life transcends the corporeal realm. Both belief systems affirm the continuation of the soul or essence in a realm that exists beyond the mortal experience. This shared foundation reflects a universal human impulse to seek meaning in the face of mortality and to envision a reality where life persists in some form. However, the devil resides in the details, and it is in the specifics of these afterlife views that the divergence becomes apparent. The nature of the afterlife, its landscape, and the experiences awaiting the departed souls vary significantly. In the ancient Sumerian cosmology, the afterlife was envisioned as a shadowy realm beneath the earth, often referred to as the underworld or Kur. Here, the deceased embarked on a journey to the netherworld, navigating a complex web of gates and encountering various deities. The Sumerians believed in a dual fate for the departed, one that was influenced by their deeds in life. A fortunate few might find themselves in the Ereshkigal's realm, enjoying a semblance of comfort, while others faced a more arduous journey through the desolate Kur. On the other hand, the Hebrew afterlife views, as portrayed in the Hebrew Bible, showcase a spectrum of beliefs evolving over time. Early Hebrew concepts of the afterlife lean towards Sheol, a shadowy underworld where both the righteous and the wicked coexisted in a state of subdued existence. However, with the progression of biblical thought, particularly in later texts, the notion of a more individualized judgment and differentiated destinies emerged. Concepts like Gehenna and the resurrection of the dead gained prominence, indicating a shift towards a more intricate understanding of the afterlife. Our conviction lies in the belief that the biblical writers, in recounting sacred stories, harbored no ill intentions. Rather, they embarked on a mission to retell narratives that held profound significance within their culture. This perspective becomes even more illuminating when we engage in a comparative analysis of Sumerian, Canaanite, and Egyptian mythologies alongside the biblical narratives. Through this exploration, a more profound understanding of the intricate socio-cultural interconnections between these ancient civilizations emerges, shedding light on the shared themes and motives that underscore their stories. The stories woven into the fabric of these ancient cultures not only share commonalities but also reveal a historical exchange of ideas and a process of cultural integration. This interplay between narratives showcases humanity's perpetual quest to comprehend the world and define its place within the grand tapestry of existence. For example, the resonance between the Sumerian flood narrative and the biblical account of Noah's Ark goes beyond mere coincidence. It manifests a shared theme of divine catastrophe, followed by the salvation of humanity, a narrative motif that transcends cultural boundaries. Similarly, the conflict between the Canaanite storm god Baal and the sea god Yam finds echoes in the biblical depiction of Yahweh triumphing over chaos. These parallels underscore not only the interconnectedness of ancient mythologies, but also the universal resonance of themes rooted in the human experience. The grandiosity of Egyptian cosmology, as reflected in the descriptions of heaven and earth in the book of Genesis, further exemplifies the cultural enrichment that occurred through the exchange of ideas across ancient civilizations. A particularly captivating instance of this cultural interplay unfolds in the parallel narratives of Esther in the Hebrew Bible and Ishtar in Sumerian mythology. The temporal synchronicity of these stories, coupled with their thematic congruence, symbolizes the cyclical nature of life and the perennial themes of death and resurrection. The very names of Esther and Ishtar become symbolic markers of this seasonal transition, encapsulating the death of winter and the rebirth of spring. Both Esther and Ishtar, women of influence within their respective narratives, intervene decisively to rescue someone they deeply care about, and their stories culminate in joyous celebrations. These celebratory conclusions find echoes in the annual festivals dedicated to these figures, further emphasizing the enduring impact of these narratives on the cultural practices and collective identity of the people. As our voyage through the secret origins of the Bible draws to a close, we invite you to become a custodian of this treasure trove of knowledge. If the whispers of Sumer, the hymns of Egypt, and the tales of Canaan have resonated with you, consider subscribing to our channel.